This always goes better if I'm perfectly honest with you.
What would be the point otherwise?
Well, one of us has to be honest.
I'm honest.
Not perfectly.
As honest as anyone.
Not really. I have conversations with a version of you and hope that the actual you gets what he needs.
A version of me.
Naturally, I respect its meticulous construction. But you are wearing a very well-tailored person suit.
Do you refer to me as person suit with your psychiatrist friends?
I don't discuss patients with my psychiatrist friends. Especially since I only have one patient who chose to ignore my retirement.
A patient who wears a person suit.
Maybe it's less of a person suit and more of a human veil. It must be lonely.
I have friends. And the opportunities for friends. You and I are friendly.
You are my patient and my colleague, not my friend. At the end of your hour, I will pour you a glass of wine. Nevertheless, you will be drinking it on the other side of the veil.
Why do you bother?
I see enough of you to see the truth of you. And I like you. Red or white?
I think something pink. Don't you? I worry that I've made Franklin feel powerless. He wants to be my friend. His obsession with me is interfering with his progress. I'm considering referring him to another doctor.
Referrals can be complicated. I referred you to another psychiatrist. You refused.
I'm more tenacious than Franklin.
Why were you so tenacious?
I feel protective of you. You support me as a colleague and psychiatrist and as a human being. I want to be supportive of you after what happened.
I'm not the only psychiatrist who's ever been attacked by a patient.
I hesitated to even bring up the subject of an obsessive patient because of your traumatic experience.
Hannibal. I'm your psychiatrist. You're not mine.
For the first time in a long while, I see a possibility of friendship.
Is there someone new in your life?
I met a man, much like myself, same hobbies, same worldviews. But I'm not interested in being his friend. I'm curious about him. And that got me curious about friendship.
Whose friendship are you considering?
Oddly enough, a colleague and a patient. Not unlike how I'm a colleague and a patient of yours. We've discussed him before.
Will Graham.
He's nothing like me. We see the world in different ways. Yet he can assume my point of view.
By profiling the criminally insane.
As good a demonstration as any. I find it reassuring.
It's nice when someone sees us, Hannibal. Or has the ability to see us. It requires trust. Trust is difficult for you.
You've helped me to better understand what I want in a friendship. And what I don't.
Someone worthy of your friendship.
Yes.
You spend a lot of time building walls, Hannibal. It's natural to want to see if someone is clever enough to climb over them.
I'm going to start seeing patients again. It's strange. Thinking about going back to daily practice.
Well, it's good you stepped away. Even if it was only for a few days.
Patients will sit where Franklin died. I will sit where I almost died, and I will offer therapy. It's easy to understand why you retired after you were attacked. Will you ever feel comfortable returning to psychiatric work?
This is psychiatric work.
When patient isn't a practice? I can't help feeling responsible for what happened to Franklin.
Every person has an intrinsic responsibility for their own life, Hannibal. No one else can take on that responsibility. Not even you.
Did you take responsibility when you were attacked by your patient?
Yes. But I don't take responsibility for his death.
Nor should you. Will Graham is troubled.
And that troubles you? Beyond a professional concern for a patient?
I see his madness and I want to contain it. Like an oil spill.
Oil is valuable. What value does Will Graham's madness have for you?
You're suggesting I'm more fascinated with the madness than the man?
Are you?
No. He realized early on that he saw things differently than other people. Felt things differently.
So did you?
I see myself and Will.
Do you see yourself in his madness?
Madness can be a medicine for the modern world. You take it in moderation, it's beneficial.
You overdose and it can have unfortunate side effects.
Those side effects can be temporary. They can be a boost to our psychological immune systems to help fight the existential crisis of normal life.
Will Graham does not present you with problems from normal life.
No, he doesn't.
What does he present you with?
The opportunity for friendship.
He is still your patient, Hannibal. Where Will Graham is concerned, if you feel the impulse to step forward, you must force yourself to take a step back.
Just watch him lose his mind.
Sometimes all we can do is watch. An agent from the FBI came to see me. He asked me questions about your relationship with Will Graham.
Jack Crawford was here.
He had enough doubt in whatever it is you told him about your patient to feel the need to verify.
He believes Abigail Hobbs was involved in her father's crimes, and he suspects Will is protecting her.
And evidently, he suspects you are protecting Will. Are you?
Are you asking as my psychiatrist?
I'm stepping out of my role as your psychiatrist, and I'm speaking to you now as your colleague. Whatever you're doing with Will Graham, stop.
Will needs my help.
You've crossed professional lines.
By making a friend.
You cannot function as an agent of friendship for a man who is disconnected from the concept, as a man who is disconnected from the concept.
I'm protecting Will from influence. He has flaws in his intuitive beliefs about what makes him who he is. I'm trying to help him understand.
You may not be able to.
I'm not comfortable telling Will that my very best attempts to help him may fail, and that my loyalty to him and his treatment could be compromised.
Then tell him something else. Agent Crawford also asked me about my attack.
I see. What did you tell him?
half-truths. That a violent patient swallowed his tongue while he was attacking me. I didn't tell him how, or why, or who was responsible.
You protect your patient from Jack Crawford, but I can't protect mine.
Not anymore. Even the very best psychiatrists have an inherent limitation to their professional abilities. You may find that difficult to accept.
You're right, it is.
You have to maintain boundaries, Hannibal.
When the pressures of my personal and professional relationships with Will grow too great, I assure you, I'll find a way to relieve them. Seems hard to find words today. Despite the overwhelming evidence, I find myself searching for ways that Abigail could still be alive.
Grieving is an individual process with a universal goal. The truest examination of the meaning of life and the meaning of its end.
I know what life means. We've existed for 100,000 years. In that time, 100 billion human lives have had beginnings and ends.
100 billion lives haven't impacted yours. But clearly, Abigail Hobbs's life has, and you seem surprised by that.
I never considered having a child. But after meeting Abigail, I understood the appeal. The opportunity to guide and support and in many ways direct a life.
You were having influence on her.
I was hoping I was.
Young people are supposed to be the lenses through which we see ourselves living beyond this life.
I think of my earliest memory and project forward to what I imagine will be my death. I never think about living beyond that span of time. Except by reputation.
Even after this loss?
More so after this loss.
Will Graham is a loss too. You might grieve him as a loss.
I haven't given up on Will.
If they do find him guilty of killing Abigail Hobbs...
When? Let's be honest.
I don't recommend you participate in any rehabilitation effort.
I was so confident in my ability to help him. To solve him.
To save him.
Saving him, I lost Abigail. It's hard to accept that I could fail them both so profoundly. I'm giving you informed consent to discuss me as your patient.
With whom?
Jack Crawford.
Disclosure of patient information should be limited to the requirements of the situation. What is the situation, Hannibal?
Will Graham made accusations. Jack's only being thorough.
You're keeping Agent Crawford close.
We share an obsession. I got to be Will Graham today. I consulted at an FBI crime scene. I stood in Will's shoes, looked through his eyes, and I saw death. I imagined he would see it.
Why would you be inviting the scrutiny of the FBI?
I'm being as open and honest as I know how.
You maintain an air of transparency while putting me in the position to lie for you. Again.
You're not just lying for me.
How far will this flirtation with the FBI go?
It would seem Jack Crawford is less suspicious of me than you are.
Jack Crawford doesn't know what you're capable of.
Neither do you.
Is it nice to see him?
It was nice. Among other things. You knew where to look for me.
You knew where he would look for you.
He said he forgave me.
Forgiveness is too great and difficult for one person. It requires two. The betrayer and the betrayed. Which one are you?
I'm vague on those details.
Betrayal and forgiveness are best seen as something akin to falling in love.
You cannot control with respect to whom you fall in love.
You are going to be caught. It has already been set into motion.
Is that concern for your patient? Or concern for yourself?
I'm not concerned about me. I know exactly how I will navigate my way out of whatever it is I've gotten myself into. Do you?
I did.
Where will Will Graham be looking for you next?
Someplace I can never go. Home.
What were you like as a young man?
I was rooting for Mephistopheles and contemptuous of Faust.
Would you like to talk about your first spring lamb?
Would you?
Why can't you go home, Hannibal? What happened to you there?
Nothing happened to me. I happened.
How did your sister taste? What your sister made you feel was beyond your conscious ability to control or predict.
Or negotiate.
I would suggest what Will Graham makes you feel is not dissimilar. A force of mind and circumstance.
Love. He pays you a visit or he doesn't.
Same with forgiveness. And I would argue the same with betrayal.
The god betrayal. Who presupposes the god forgiveness?
We can all betray. Sometimes we have no other choice.
Misha didn't betray me. She influenced me to betray myself, but I forgave her that influence.
If past behavior is an indicator of future behavior, there is only one way you will forgive Will Graham.